Time now for some business news, and the country's aviation sector is facing a potential shutdown tonight as workers issue a fresh 7-day strike notice to the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority. The Kenya Aviation Workers Union, led by Secretary General Moss Ndiema, accuses the authority of stalling on a long-standing labor agreement and failing to address concerns over staff contracts. However, Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, that's KCCA management, maintains that they are operating within the confines of the law and remain open to dialogue. Here is Jasmine Wamboy with the details of that story.
Solidarity forever.
The stalemate between the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority and its workforce reached a tipping point today.
We will deal with them. We are determined.
Speaking on behalf of the employees, KAU's Secretary General Moss Ndiema has announced a 7-day strike notice.
If in the initial hours the government does not direct KCAA to do the right thing, we are going to mobilize the entire aviation. In short, there will be nothing aviation related that will move.
And that could have dire consequences for the country.
My biggest concern is the impact on our aviation industry, because quite a number of foreign airlines have already reached out.
At the core of the problem is a long-term disagreement over a labor contract that hasn't moved forward in over a decade.
So we are looking at employees whose terms have not been reviewed upwards by way of negotiation since 2015.
But KCAA says the engagements have stalled because of the union's own legal troubles that it has been facing over that period.
Historically, there was the Aviation Workers Union, or AWU, and then now KAU was set up, I believe, later on. So the law states very clearly that you cannot have two unions in the same space. So there was a court case between the two unions that was finally concluded in 2023. And that is why it was impossible for us as KCA to engage with either of the unions.
The union also says it's unfair that temporary staff don't get the same perks as permanent workers, even though they have the same responsibilities. Ndiema did not mince his words today, accusing the authority of anti-unionism and inhumane labor practices.
We've not been able to make progress in our engagement. Until this morning, KCA management was still acting weirdly.
But the management attributes the so-called weird behavior to the unionists.
We have so far held 3 meetings, but they walked out on 2 of the meetings. And today they also walked out before serving us with a strike notice.
The union further alleges that the authority is keeping staff in certain job groups from joining the union, but KCAA says their hands are tied by the law.
We have the old CBA that existed that clarified the levels of unionizable staff within the CBA. And then further to that, there was a court ruling of 2011 which defined unionizable levels.
The clock is ticking, yet the grandstanding persists on both ends.
We have the goodwill from management and we intend to engage, but within the boundaries set by law.
Solidarity forever, for the union makes us so.
The Kenya Civil Aviation Authority is calling on the Kenya Aviation Workers Union to show more restraint and resort to engagement instead of ground standing as they seek to resolve this issue. This even as the authority assures Kenyans that services here will not be affected by the looming strike. Jasmine Wamboy, Citizen TV, Nairobi.